Good evening, everyone. Curtis here again, bringing you another. I won't even say it's a lab; it's more so of an exercise. And that exercise is looking and analyzing Pcap files. I know it's something that's going to be very important. I just want to make sure I'm recording. So, okay, cool. But I know it's going to be very important. Going into the you know being an SOC analyst, I know that, or wanting to be an SOC analyst, that being able to analyze files, network traffic is going to be important to, understanding, how threat actors will are attacking systems and just overall understanding what's going on under the hood. So to do that, I don't know if you guys have, read, again, I post every day, but, yesterday I went into analyzing my first, you know, I've been, you know, I've been, analyzing, but actually documenting my, you know, packet analyzation. And I want to make a consistent effort of putting out these videos to go over kind of how I do my process of analyzing. I know it's very important to, develop your own way of doing things. And that's something that I'm going to have to figure out as I continue to, get better at, analyzing PCAP files. So, I'm learning just like everybody else. There's going to be some mistakes like I'm going to make today because when I did this earlier in the morning, you know, uh, obviously I handled it the best way I could. Then I looked at the answers and realized, I was wrong on some things, but I was right on some other things. So, it's a learning progress, but you're going to see my ups and downs. So I'm not going to, pull any punches. I'm going to tell you where I think I went right and how I did the first time. And then I will go over, what, uh, what was the real right answers. So today we'll be looking at this, and this is don't mind the tabs. I'm a tab freak, but uh our PCAP today comes from, oh shoot, come back here. Malware traffic analysis.net, and it is the brown paper, plain brown wrapper, and there's no scenario here. It's just basically, analyze the PCAP and figure out what the heck is going on. So, um, let me bring up the PCAP file. So here we have it. This is our, man, God, if you don't stop doing that. This is my PCAP file. Let's start from the top. So before I even look at this big old chunk of data here, I already have it set up the way I want it from the time, the source point, the port, the destination port, the host, the C name when it comes to the Active Directory and Kerberos, and then the info of these different frames. So when before I even start looking at the frames, I want to kind of get the landscape of, the IPs that I'll be looking into and the conversations that are going on between those IP the IP4 um the IPs basically. So before I even get into this, I want to go into statistics and see kind of what I'm dealing with here. So as you can see, you have your Ethernets, which I'm not going to really focus on too much. What I really want to focus on are really these two options, the IP4 addresses and then the port numbers that are being used the most. So to kind of get an idea of what's going on, I would sort by packets. So obviously, the higher the packets, the more I want to focus on that IP. So it's like it's really spread out. Um, Obviously, this one I'm already seeing that this might be the IP in question due to the amount of packets. It's the most by far, and then you got 217, 192, yada yada yada, so far, so on and so forth. So, um, like you said, it's going to be kind of spread out between looks like these top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 IP address with 172 being the focal point. When it comes to TCP ports, looks like a lot of secure HTTPS, HTTP communications going on here. Looks like some random port numbers that I have no idea what they are, but looks like it's going to be kind of dealing with the HTTP ports mostly. So get out of that. And now that I kind of know, and I will write these down. By the way, I don't have a, I have my pen and paper to the right of me, but I will write these things down to kind of have that in my mind as I'm trying to figure out the landscape of things. So next, I want to go. I'm not going to this to the big board just yet. I want to check one more thing, and that's the conversations that are going on. So going to the IPv4 conversations, filtering it from top to bottom when it comes to packets, and it looks like a lot of communication from like the one we saw with the endpoints, the IP addresses, or the IP address that's doing the most talking. Looks like 170, 172.16.17, well, 174.93. Looks like it's talking to, multitude of ports. I mean, not ports, but IP addresses. Kind of spread out with it's not like one singular besides, 217, which we'll figure out who that is in a second. But it looks like, we'll be looking at this IP address as probably the one that's going to have the most action going on. So we'll come back to this periodically if we need to. When it comes to TCP, again, these sorts of filtering by packets. So it's again kind of going back to the secure traffic mixed with the not secure traffic when it comes to HTTP. It looks like those two are the ones we're going to be dealing with today. Uh, yeah, see, going up and down, it just looks like that's what we're going to deal with. Okay, so now that I kind of have that in mind, now we get to what's going on. And I'm not like there's a whole bunch of packets here, so obviously I'm not gonna go through all of them. I kind of would get the gist as we're going along, but it looks like if we start from the top, this all started on the 20th of 2016 at sure that's military time, so that's about 7:45 um AM or PM. I have no idea, but looks like we start this off by seeing that 172.16.174.254 is communicating through port 67, which is DHCP, to, well, looky there, I, our IP in question, the one that we saw the most of. Um, and it's communicating through its 68 port, which is DHCP. And it looks like this might be the DHCP giving our main IP address a IP address, or at least acknowledging it. So from there, it looks like it has gotten its host taken care of. Looks like it's going to be Brock. I mean, even if we kind of look here and a little bit deeper into it. I believe it's here. No. Name resolution, standard queries. Yeah, that's what I thought. So this is going to probably be the name the of that IP address, and yeah, so that's already answers a few questions, because if we go back to here, it asks the host name of the Windows computer that was infected, which I assume that's the one that's going to be infected. So it's going to be Brock PC. We can find the MAC address, which is already gives it here. It looks like it's a Dell, and the MAC address will be FC260A83B1D5. So 3 questions are already answered. So we have the IP, the MAC, and the host name of that Windows computer that we're dealing with, which is 172.16.174. So now it's where things get interesting, because now we got to figure out um, what happened to this PC, because something clearly happened. So if we just scroll on through here, it looks like we have a few times where it's going, looks like to this was the IP is communicating through its port. Uh, and it's communicating with, it looks like this must be the DNS server, because it's communicating through port 53. It's like it's trying to look for for certain webs. It looks like this goes on throughout another communication to might be another DNS. I can't remember off the top of my head what 5355 it is. But moving on, it looks like it goes through this communication for a minute until here we get another DHCP communication. Still some DNS queries here. And then also, if another way you can, because I actually have it as a button now that I think about it, uh, NBNS can give you an idea of, you know, uh, the computer host name from here, so you don't have to go searching. Um, as you can see, Brock PC, that kind of confirms what we already know. So let me get out of this. Let me clear that. So we're scrolling a lot of DHC, I mean not DHCP, but DNS queries, trying to look for his cache and whatnot, just scrolling. Okay, so we start to see our IP in question communicating with other servers through their HTTP protocol. Looks like we see it communicating. Here's our SYN trying to go through the handshake. Um, Looks like it responds with the SYNAC acknowledging the connection. Well, responding back to the initial SYN with the SYNAC, and then that acknowledgement from our IP, or the IP in question. And then that's when it asks for uh, for something. Looks like here it actually came back with looks like a plain text. As you can see down here with the HTTP protocol, looks like it said it responded with a, looks like a text document of some sort from Microsoft and CSI. And if you wanted to actually download these objects, you would go here to export objects HTTP, and you'll see it here. Look at the packet, and if you click on it, it actually kind of filters through to, and it kind of mm, highlights it in the back here. So if I'm switching through different objects, it will kind of move with the screen. So If I wanted to analyze this and say and take it to virus total, I would save it so where I can find it. And in the back here, I have a program for making hashes, which is hash my file, and I would add it to the program, and then I would copy the hash file. I think I have virus total already up, so and then I would paste it to here to see if it is malicious, which I don't think it was. Yeah, there wasn't any issue with that. So nothing wrong with that. Bring this back up. So I'm just going to fast forward because this is kind of the process that I've used to kind of see what possibly might be going on. Um, I would filter it to make sure I kind of get through all this noise by using the HTTP, and this kind of shrinks it up a little bit more. And it has the get method and then the OKs, and this goes on for a good minute of gets and HTTPs giving OKs, or we had a few that didn't get any OKs somewhere here. Yeah, move temporarily here, so not necessarily 200 to 200 OK. Um, so I'll just go to where I thought was the issue, and that's when, matter of fact, I'm gonna actually do it like this because I have a filter for HTTP requests. Maybe it'll make this a little easier. Um, Actually, no, it won't. Not the way I want to explain it. Okay, we'll just go like this. So let me get out of here. All right, so everything seemed fine. I didn't when I was scrolling through the packets, I didn't see anything that was necessarily crazy or out of the ordinary. I didn't stumble upon any uh IOCs indicators of compromise. I did not see that until I got here. And this is where crap hit the fan for me. So I noticed Bing, when our IP in question was communicating with, I assume, the server for Bing, what threw me off was that it was sending different sends, but was communicating on a different port. See this 49160 on one port, and then 49161 on another port. So it instantly had me thinking that it was trying to flood the server. That's what I was thinking. Because when I go back and look at the previous gets, it's only it's one send packet being sent. So even when you look at this one for uh MSFT NCSI, it's only one packet. Look, send, send ack, then the get. Then they acknowledge that they got that they received the get, and then they respond with the okay, gives them the plain text, and then you know he lets the RIP lets the server know that they're done. They acknowledge it, and then they close the connection. Here, when I go back to here, not this one. Actually, I could use that as an example, but I don't think of that. Here it's two of them. So my antennas went up right after that. So I'm like, maybe they're sending a sinful attack. Now, before I didn't even look up what a sinful attack is. I was just kind of uh I was in the, the courage of my conviction. I didn't think I needed to. I think that was the issue. And then I put in my indicators of compromise, and then I moved on. I did. And that's part of the thing I need to work out and learn, that even though I might have the right answer, there could be more that's lying behind the curtains, because I didn't even bother to look into the rest of this, because I instantly thought, oh, someone's just trying to, um, break in by being stupid and sending a whole bunch of send packets to confuse the server. And boy, was I wrong. I was wrong, because that wasn't even close to what was the issue. So, one of the things that I learned in this process is that every issue is different depending on the situation. So, there's different ways to find out what's going on. There's more ways of just trying to go in here and find objects, and then try and save all the objects, and then figure out which one's a virus. Like, there's more ways to find out what the issue is. And one of the things that I learned during this process is that when it comes to, let's just say for sake of argument, the HTTP request and the different HTTP requests, is to really take a dive into the TP the TCP stream, and to really know what's going on behind the scenes when it comes to uh, the IP, the IP in question, and then the server IP. So let's just say this, for example, like really paying attention to uh, the what's going on your IP, and then what information is being sent or given when it comes to the server that we're communicating with. Really look in and analyze even stuff like this, using the find method to find any nook and crannies. Because what I realized, what the real issue was, not the send flood attack, which I actually, after I found out what the issue was, I actually researched what the send flood is. You know, some of this is like research, so I have to do a better job of making sure I research these things. And what I found out was a SIM flood is a type of denial service or distributed denial service attack that sends massive numbers of SIM requests to a server to overwhelm it with open connections. Which I don't think I was wrong in my thought process, but it was either A, not enough SIM packets to really um cause an issue, or most you would get a whole bots a whole army full of computers to send packets to the server. So it really wasn't enough packets to really do much damage. And I thought maybe it didn't take that much, but I think it may take a lot more than two send packets to really do damage. So, but what actually was the issue was that in this Git, there is there is code inputted, and I know it's not a word, but there's some code that's thrown into a in the HTML page that is malicious, and I believe it is Hong Kong hotels. If I it's not no, I'm sorry. Follow TCP streams. So here's your HTML CSS page where it's formatted, linked, and whatnot. In here, not that one. Let's go to the next. Right here. This is where the malicious activity starts. This, and I can't remember off the top of my head what this is. I think, matter of fact, let's just find out. Like I said, we're learning here. Why not? Let's bring up the answers to the question. Let me get all this stuff off. Get away, go away, go away. All right, so if you notice that, okay, so the affected host, we talked about that. I was right. Oh, forgot Windows 7 machine. Yes. The malicious activity starts compromise view the user on brought PC view compromised websites, Hong Kong hotels.org, and was infected with the new 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 God, I can't pronounce that word. Neurino exploit kit with Cryptmic ransomware. So this is what that is right here. So that computer visited that site with malicious code in it. All right. And if you notice, that same one is in another IP address as well. Looky there. So 5.135.252.130 over port 80 has this same code or same little URL that's right here. Look at that. So it starts at frame 229. And then along the way, if we get out of here, so we have the initial get of the Hong Kong hotels.org, and then you go through their sin act dance, still go through their sin act dance. And you notice they had to get here, and they were able to get the CSS file as well. Go through this. Look, there's that. There's that website again. So he did it twice. Actually went to the site itself. Let's take a look at it let's take a look at it and see what we see. So the host here. It's a lot of stuff. And then what we can do to really see if this is malicious or not. Awesome's profile, free spirit. If we wanted to pull an object from, especially this till it's seen now to really see if it's malicious or not. Let's see here. I mean, even this is something I didn't even notice while I was doing this. I mean, it has a blank for content. There's nothing even here. You can just take one. Now, I wouldn't like be careful with this because this is technically like malicious. So like it's a kind of a live thing. So kind of make sure when you're dealing with it, don't open it or don't do anything crazy because it's considered. They said on those websites like it's kind of considered live. So like be careful with it. It's a legit um it's a legit malicious file. So let's go to virus total and see if this thing is malicious or not. And some of this I'm just okay, so this one wasn't. And some of these files are and some of them aren't. That's actually the first time I actually tried to see if those different till files were actually malicious and bad. So and then another indicator that they were speaking of was that there was a loop back with one of the IPs as well. That would be the crypt mic callback, which was 85. Or I'm just gonna copy it. Let's get this show on the road because I know this video is it's getting kind of long, and I got the long, and I got myself a long version, or paid for the ability for it to not cut off on me at 10 minutes. So that is good. IP address. Let me get that out of here. Paste that. Somewhere here there is a loop back. Let's see. Let's check the thing to see where it was. Oh, so they happen at different times. Does it say? And maybe it has something to do with the continuation data as well, because look, see, continuation data. That's just something that I noticed. The continuation data is kind of assigned to, and they kind of fit the time frames as well. 43, another 43, 42, 241. So, and then the last one was a file that was a file that they it's a web page for decrypt instructions after the computer was infected. And that was towards the last, I think towards the end. Because if you go to the support objects, you'll find it all the way at the bottom. And if you notice, they like these malicious and some things I'll just pick up as I get used to it. But it seems like the malicious stuff has blank content. Now I know that's not all of it because this wasn't malicious, but it's like, I'm trying to find patterns and, see and see things for that, that I can remember and put to memory and um, think about it the next time I analyze a file. But as you can see, way down in packet 3934, looks like he actually made a connection with with that same website and got it 302 found. I have to go back and research what 302 means. I can't remember. Can't remember off the top of my head. But in essence, that's it. That's kind of what happened. It looks like our IP visited a malicious site and possibly downloaded some malicious items, files, um, So yeah, he was just basically going off and not being secure with his connections because he ended up going on some compromising sites. I don't think he doesn't look like he downloaded anything, just visited those things. He downloaded some things from the site, but as we can see with Virus Total, most of them were not malicious, but just being on a malicious site can, you know, just push you in a bad position. But I know this video was long, but I hope you enjoyed it. Again, I'm learning every day, and as time goes on, I'll get better at um analyzing PCAPs and um recognizing certain patterns. So I hope y'all hung with me, and I'll be doing this again very, very soon. Y'all have a blessed night, and let's have